Mastered the lack of reform at the United Nations and blamed Security Council decisions that allowed military action in Libya for the chaos that has affected large parts of this North African country.
In a keynote address to the meeting of the General Assembly on strengthening cooperation between the UN and regional and sub-regional organizations, President Yoweri Museveni took the opportunity to lecture members on the complementary required for the world to see tangible and positive results in efforts of peace and security.
The gloves came off as Uganda's head of state took issue with the structural deficiency that the lack of UN reform, particularly in the Security Council, had come to represent.
This is a big mistake and has already caused a lot of harm to Africa, like in the case of Libya, where Africa's opinion was ignored. Hence, the present massive human hemorrhage in that area. If the Security Council members that took military action in Libya had listened to the voice of Africa, the present chaos in Libya, Nigeria, Mali, the people who are dying in the Mediterranean Sea from the African shores trying to get to Europe could have been avoided.
He complained about the power afforded the permanent 5 members of the Council, arguing that they represented just 1.9 billion people in a world of 7 billion, questioning why they had a monopoly on global responsibility.
The United Nations should not just blindly pursue the option of placing sanctions on individuals or referring them to the ICC without holding consultations with the regions affected, as this often undermines the very process of resolving the conflict in question.
Making the case that reform would place the UN above national or group interests. It was a hard-hitting speech showing the growing frustration at the lack of progress the reform agenda has seen despite years and years of negotiations. The UN will of course celebrate its 70th anniversary later this year, and a strong case will continue to be made to fundamentally reshape what Museveni called the old-fashioned structures that undercut its abilities to respond quickly and effectively to crises, often due to the minority views of the powerful. Shervin Bryce-Pease, SABC News, New York.